you think there's a difference today in leaders or corporate leaders or even nonprofit leaders than when you first got in the beginning of your corporate career? How has that changed?
That was a long time ago.
Yeah.
And, I think a lot of that question are some generational
Sure.
issues. And I see that. I think if I look at leaders when I first started in the workforce, and I look at leaders today, I think there is a big difference.
Mm-hmm.
I think some things are good. Some things probably, more of a challenge and an opportunity. I think the underlying things of trust, communication are all the same. They are there. But the important difference is, one, it's around patience.
Mm-hmm.
What I see in leaders today is they go and they'll spend a year and spend a cycle doing something, and then they say, "Oh, I'm ready to be CEO right now." Well, hold on. You may not have seen enough cycles. You may not have done that. But I think the generation that has come into the workforce has come in with, people have called it the video game mentality. If I just sit here long enough, I can go ahead and master this. Unfortunately, leadership is not like that, in my opinion. Mm-hmm. Leadership, you have to learn through some hard mistakes. You have to learn through time. You do. You can't experience it virtually. It's not a virtual game from a leadership perspective.
That's a great way to put it. I like that.
And I think that's different. I think the loyalty of folks, and part of that's to blame from a company standpoint too. But folks come in and say, I'll give you a great 2 years. Mm-hmm. And then I got to go and I got to do something a little different. I see leaders today too struggling a little bit on the interpersonal side. And, I think that is a function of, so much today is done through a text or done through a Snapchat. I see it with my kids sometimes. I don't want to compare leaders to my kids.
Right.
But to have a dialogue and to have a tough conversation with somebody as a leader, and to get your point across and to preserve dignity and respect, you can't do that on Instagram.
No.
You can't do that through Snapchat. You got to do that through the dialogue that you have with somebody, and I see it. On the positive side, I think you have folks out there that are really conscious of what the world is today. They really have a moral standard that they're putting up. They don't want to compromise that moral standard. I think the leaders today have a better idea of balance too.
Okay.
When I was coming up in the world, when a lot of people were coming up in the world, I said, just give me a job. If you give me a job, I'll go anywhere, I'll do anything. And the important thing is that I have the job. Now I think people are saying, and I think it's a real positive, I have a family, I have a personal life. I want to balance that. Where the generation before was saying, that's number two a lot of the time, and that was unfortunate.
It really was.